Hey guys, so I'm doing this video as a request to a response I got from a reader of the article I posted on Black Trident Media on September 15th. So you can check that article out in the low bar. Now I want to preface this by saying that many are not going to agree with me on this topic, but it really doesn't matter if you do or don't. The past week of Gamergate has been nothing but drama. Now, whether this happened organically or by design really does not matter, but after 2 weeks of obsessing over Sarah Butts, we started to turn in on ourselves to a degree that we've never really seen before. From the beginning of Gamergate, we have been warned about the dangers of letting it turn into an identity. And even I myself forgot that for a time. When you turn Gamergate into an identity, you begin to gatekeep. And for a group of people that gathered together largely to fight against the practice of gatekeeping in an industry that we all love, well, that's a problem. Especially when some insist that Gamergate is precisely about gatekeeping, which I don't even get. So it is that reason alone that I have my suspicions on whether or not this happened by design through social engineering, turning us into the converse of what we first gathered to try to stop. Now, for me, the Gamergate hashtag has always been a means to spread information. Information about ethics in games journalism, information about social justice bullies attempting to influence the video game and other industries, some even being blatantly clear that they intend to take over and edge ideological opponents out of said industries. Even information about he said, she said bullshit, which is a lot of what's been happening lately. But deeper than the hashtag, I've watched a community grow. I've been very careful not to call it a movement, but likened it more to a subculture. Now, I've watched people rally behind the Honey Badgers after they were booted from the Calgary Fan Expo. I've watched people uphold developers speaking out against cronyism in video game awards, and I watched as our arguments made it all the way to the Society of Professional Journalists. I've watched as a group of strangers stood up for what they thought was right. I've watched Catholics and atheists see eye to eye, feminists and MRAs having rational discussions with one another, and I've watched us turn on each other because some people just don't like each other very much. Gamergate has accomplished a lot, and there's a lot more that it can still accomplish. Now, the reality is that Gamergate is indeed splintering. But I want to be clear, like the title of the article, that's a good thing. Mark Kern has the League for Gamers, which has many goals aligned with the concerns expressed by a great many of those who make use of the Gamergate hashtag. Even the A-Team has been its own thing. GG Revolt, even though a little bit more recent, is there as well, and more recently we have Gamergate Plus, which I admit I haven't really looked into yet, so if somebody can drop me the lowdown on that, that would be great. But all of this falls in line with predictions that I have made since day one. I've made videos on this topic, that we were eventually going to have to splinter apart, as all subcultures do. If you look at the history of any sizable subculture, you'll note that they started in much the same way. Heavy metal is a subculture based around a genre of music, but even that has seeded the birth of dozens more. This happened to feminism over the years, and even video game culture itself has had numerous subcultures emerge from it. Splintering is not only inevitable, but it's necessary for success. Some say that Gamergate should not start forming groups under its wing, and I would agree, but only in the sense that I believe groups should be seeded out of Gamergate that pursue individual goals, then be found under its wing. Guys, everybody is distracted. For the past few weeks, everybody has been obsessively posting about Sarah Butts. And no, I'm not a fan either, but I'd like to go on being able to ignore her and let the authorities and her family handle it while I focus on the goals I believe in, which, in my opinion, is what everybody should be doing. But it feeds into the drama, the us versus them nonsense. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested rather in drawing attention to unethical journalism in video games, and just in general, I am interested in showing social justice warriors the mirror that they so richly need in order to come to terms with the fact that they've become the very bullies that they claim to be against, and hopefully prevent their attitudes and behaviors from becoming the norm in the industries and institutions that I hold dear to myself, like geek culture, journalism, academia. Now, I'm not saying those who love the drama need to stop. Far from it, in fact. The drama lovers, I find, serve a valuable purpose in this whole mess. But what I am saying, and as I said from the very beginning of Gamergate, is that we need to have focus, that we need to remain consistent, and we need to stick to what we believe in. This means allowing niche groups to sprout from the seed that is Gamergate, and realizing that even if ideas differ from your own, those people are still allies. E-celebs are just people with influence and ideas, okay? I've seen accusations of conspiracy against some prominent so-called e-celebs recently. Conspiracy, okay? As though they're conspiring behind the scenes to do something that is patently impossible for them to actually do. And end the tag. Like, come on, guys. Gamergate is not a movement, it's a rat king, okay? It is a mass connected by a single tail. But eventually, the tails are going to have to become untangled, or the rats are going to eat themselves to avoid starvation. But the rats that break free will be the ones in the walls of the very institutions and cultures that we want to take back. So remember that there is a time which may already be upon us that adherence to Gamergate identity will, beyond a shadow of a doubt, hold us back from reaching our shared goals. You don't have to like everyone. You don't even have to like me. But if you're using your dislike of people supporting the hashtag to prevent you from achieving the goals that you want to see Gamergate achieve, then maybe it's time to rethink things a little bit. So with that said, I'm going to go forward making videos. I'm going to go forward writing articles about the things that I believe in, and maybe even playing some video games over on our sister channel, Streampunks. And I'm going to support any group that gets seeded from Gamergate that happens to align with the change that I want to see happen. And as for the drama, I'm going to ignore it. So yeah, this has been EJ Spurl, and subscribe and like if you want to see more. Peace.